Hello everyone, my name is Joel Cordy. I'm the owner of Chase Bliss Audio. Today I'm going to be talking about our newest device, the Bliss Factory, which is a collaboration between ZVEX Effects and us. Now, some of you that have been following me for a while know that I worked at ZVEX from 2008 to 2013, and the Fuzz Factory by ZVEX Effects is arguably my favorite guitar pedal of all time. So to say that this has been a dream come true is almost an understatement for me, because I've been thinking about this pedal for years and years. And the reason it exists is because Reverb.com is coming out with a feature-length movie called The Pedal Movie, and they were thinking of some fun ways to promote it, and they thought, hey, let's do some collaborations. I've wanted to do this collaboration forever, but I just never really thought it would be realistic. When I talked to Zach about it, with Reverb.com, he was like just as excited as I was about it. So I probably should have asked him years ago. Okay, Bliss Factory, what is it? Well, this is a Fuzz Factory in our Chase Bliss Audio platform, where we have digital control of all the parameters, MIDI control, and dip switches where you can ramp any of the parameters and also control via expression or MIDI individually or simultaneously. We also have some really cool performance style stuff with this auxiliary switch here. And last but certainly not the least is we have a low pass resonant filter that has the same DNA as our Condor pedal. I tweaked it a little bit to work particularly well with the Fuzz Factory, which I will go into here in a second. We also have this switch here, normal stock Fuzz Factory settings, a fat switch and a fatter switch, and essentially that just allows more low frequencies into the circuit, but it also changes the pitch and the nature of the self-oscillation. I'm not even going to play guitar, but I am going to have the guitar plugged in so I can get it to self-oscillate, because the way that you can get it to self-oscillate is it matters what the output impedance is of the device you're plugged into. So for example, if I just I'm going to turn the volume down to start, just so I don't scare anybody. If we just turn all the knobs all the way down, I have the low pass filters. Let's just set it to non-resonant, and then we'll just have normal here, which is the stock Fuzz Factory setting. This isn't important right now because we don't have this engaged. If we turn this on, it's not going to make any sound because the volume's down, but if you turn this up, you can hear it self-oscillating, right? Now, if we unplug this, so it's just a grounded input, which is what automatically happens if we unplug this, and there's no impedance coming from the guitar at all, I don't think you're going to hear anything. Nope. Nothing's happening. So it needs to see that guitar. And the reason that's important too is if you put a buffer in front of this pedal, it's not going to be right. Just don't do it. If you're the type of person that can't plug directly into this with a guitar, I just don't recommend buying it, because it's just not nearly as fun. So we're going to do that. We're oscillating here. And you can get the oscillation to stop in a variety of ways. Now, the stability is essentially like how much you starve the voltage on the circuit. If you don't want it to isolate, generally speaking, in almost all the settings, if you turn that all the way up, that is full voltage to the fuzz. So it's very stable in this kind of environment. You heard the pitch of the self-oscillation went higher as we turn the stab up. Turn it back down, just turn the volume down so I don't annoy you guys too much, but if you turn the gate up, that's also going to be, you're going to be able to gate out the sound. It's going to change the pitch. The comp or compression is also something that is able to do that. I almost use the comp as a gate, which I'll get into. And then the drive, how that affects the self-oscillation in that way. Well, the fat switch will change the pitch of the self-oscillation. And this is interesting in the most extreme mode, for fatter, is it's oscillating so slowly that it doesn't even make a tone. So as you increase that with the fatter setting, it eventually becomes a tone. And then it, is eventually going to gate out at some point. So let's go back to normal, kind of classic fuzz setting that I've used a lot in my bands. I have the stab all the way up, so stability's up. I have the drive all the way up. I do the gate pretty high, and then comp I think I do around here too. But what I love about it is the gate, right? So I like that it's like super touch sensitive, and it goes to complete silence when you're not playing. That's a setting I use a lot. Some people would say, oh, it's too bright. So that's what's nice about this setting here is that you can just mellow it out, like a tone control. And it goes, really dark if you want it. Right now, I have the stability pretty far up, right? Let's just put this back over here. I want to turn the volume down because I don't want to blast this out. If we turn the stability down and we make it self-oscillate, what can be fun about that is we can momentarily control either the stab, the low-pass filter, or the gate. See how that sounds? Right now, I don't have it in momentary. It's latching, but you can change that with the dip switches in the back. What happened there is I just overrode the gate setting that I had and made it turn all the way up. So like the gate is very, very far up right now, but it's just kind of handy because you just always have access to be able to gate it out, but then you can get really weird. So for example, if I wanted to like get something weird like that to happen, where I was like modulating the drive knob, what I could do is set this up so that I turn drive on so that it's ramping, and then I turn the bounce on so it ramps up and down. And then what you're going to get is like you have access to something insane whenever you want, and you can also turn it off easily with the gate. I mean, you can get situations like this all the time where you're getting the self-oscillation and then you're modulating it because of the nature of the way Chase Bliss pedals work. You could modulate any of the parameters. Since I changed out the dip switches, this is no longer the gate control. It's like setting the rate of the LFO. But what's cool is that if I turn this off, you can just see how as the guitar signal sort of overtakes the self-oscillation, kind of falls below that threshold, then you hear the self-oscillation and they kind of fight with each other in this really beautiful way. One of the things I really love about the Fuzz Factory And you do have lots of control over this switch. So for example, I wanted to change the polarity so that when this was on, then it was going down to the gate position that I had. But then you can switch the polarity. So then it's just basically opposite. You can also change this to momentary aux. You turn that on, then you can do stuff like that. Could be interesting. You get the idea. Stuff like that. I'm gonna go back to how I had it though, which was I like the polarity to be up. Let's go back to like the bass line here where I just have that self-oscillation happening. I'm going to turn the ramping off for now. I want to make like a weird synthy kind of sound. What I find is a good way to do that is to just have all the knobs like stab down, drive knob down, gate knob down, and comp down. But then get the self-oscillation to stop by turning off the comp knob. So have it about there generally. And all, you know, fuzz factories and Bliss factories are wildly variable circuits. They use germanium transistors. So every Bliss factory is going to be like where certain things happen is going to be a little bit different. It's just the nature of the circuit. It's wonderful. Every Bliss factory is unique in some way. Okay, so I did this so like I have a gate thing going. And I love that sound, but if you turn the fat switch on, and again, it's like, you know, you get this synthy kind of tone. And what's really interesting is as the note kind of decays, it does this weird like snapping to different pitches thing. I think that the resonant filter sounds really interesting. Let's turn that to the resonant setting. And I was kind of aware that that was going to happen because I've been playing around with this setting a lot, but I swear every time I use this pedal, something weird happens where I'm like, oh, I didn't know it could do that. And I remember the first time it was like doing stuff like that, and I was like, what? Okay. That's crazy. That's also a fun way to use the low-pass filter as a performance feature. So if we turn it here, this is going to do the same thing where it's going to turn the low-pass filter all the way up or all the way to where the knob setting is at if you push this. So if I play a note, so you know, that's just fun stuff. In this setting here, it can actually do its own self-oscillation. So let's, I'll put the guitar down again and we'll just play with self-oscillation. You probably can't hear this, but it's making a very low tone right now. So you can hear that the pedal self-oscillating, but also this low-pass filter is so resonant that it can also self-oscillate. So you can have two self-oscillations going and interacting. And this is the point where 40% of you just turn the video off because you're like, that's pedals not for me, and that's fine. But it's for me, you know. So, okay, this resonant filter is a little crazy because it can self-oscillate, right? But there's the middle setting here, which is also resonant, but it's not, you're not going to self-oscillate with the filter in that setting because it's not resonant enough. Or maybe you can, and I just haven't found a setting where you can, but if you want the craziness, that's the one to use. The stab control is similar to the gate control in that it's another way to kind of have more control over your oscillations, right? Because if you turn the stab knob all the way up, like it is right now, because I'm overriding this stab position, it's gonna probably make your self-oscillation go away. So it's just another tool, but you know, sometimes the reason I liked having the stab and the gate on there is because sometimes it's kind of nice to make your self-oscillation go away by either turning the gate up or the stab knob up. Kind of depends on what you're going for. So you might have noticed that one other kind of unusual dip switch that we've had on other Chase Bliss pedals, but not all of them, is the shape one. Instead of triangular ramping of parameters, you can do square. So one that is kind of fun is to do that with volume. Just turn volume up and turn the bounce up. Then you can get a situation where you're ramping the volume, so it's like a choppy tremolo. So now I'm gonna mess with the low pass filter and the ramping. This is gonna just be the tremolo. There's so many weird things that can happen, especially with the ramping. You can get lost in it a bit. It's still kind of surprising how inspiring and wild it is. I've always been so interested in the Fuzz Factory as a circuit. It's just a lot of fun. Of course, you don't have to use it like this. You can use this as a much more traditional fuzz with presets, which is, there's just a lot of sounds in it, and it's nice to be able to save, you know, your presets. But you can also do a lot of exploratory and interesting stuff on its own and use it as an instrument, as you've seen, where you can get it to self-oscillate and control the pitch, use it as a sound generating device. But I hope that you enjoyed this little discussion we've had here. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. And thanks for listening.